Hey everyone, Genome here, coming to you the next episode in my Marvel Strike Force review series. In this show, I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. I'm going to be ranking characters that I think a lot of people will choose because they have seen them in the movies. That's right, I'm going to be ranking each and every one, at least the ones I know of characters that were actually in the MCU. For brevity's sake, I'm not going to include the TV shows and all that. That could go on and on and on. And it doesn't have to just be the MCU. It could be previous movies before that, too. So stuff like Fantastic Four and the X-Men and all that will be in there as well. So a couple of these characters I haven't used yet, but I can just go on their kits and from what the community is talking about and kind of glean a good example from there. So one more thing, for brevity's sake, I'm just going to give them a rating of either great, good, okay, or they suck, right? That's it, just those four, maybe with a brief explanation between them, but there's a lot to go through, so let's go ahead and get started. This is just an order of how I have them ranked, so no particular orders and favorites or anything like that. So, Thanos, he's great. He's amazing as a standalone character, and he is basically God tier in Black Order. So, amazing character, well worth the investment. Ebony Maw, another great legendary. What more to say? There's not too many bad legendaries, but he's just amazing. Defensive tools aplenty. He's a great standalone character like Thanos, and he's also God tier on his team, so great character. Ghost Rider is tough to rank. He's really just okay as a standalone character. He's one of my most disappointing characters, actually. But I'm going to say he's good. If he's on Supernatural, then he's really, really good. He's the glue on that team that basically holds everything together. So I'm going to give him a good ranking, but he's really close to just being okay, unfortunately. Punisher, I'm going to call him okay. He is not exceptional in anything except for damage, but in that he excels pretty well. He's no Black Bolt, of course, but he's pretty good, especially for a character you get for free early on. Loki, I'm going to have to call him just good as well, even bordering on okay. He's great at what he does, but usually that's only in the very first turn. Like, he is good for setting up OTKs on characters, especially in like Asgardians and things like that. But yeah, just a standalone character, he's just okay. I'm going to go ahead and leave him as good because he's still on a pretty semi-meta team, at least as far as war goes. He's really fast, he's got a great opener, and his ultimate's no slouch either. So, yeah, let's go ahead and give him with a good. But it's once again really close to being okay. Phoenix, no explanation needed. She's great. Basically God tier when she's in Dark Phoenix mode. Nothing else to say. Star-Lord, oh, how the mighty have fallen. This guy is just okay nowadays. He used to be good to great, especially when he first came out, he was great. But he's just sliding like crazy. You just cannot use him in U7 and above and things like that. He's just too fragile. His blind doesn't stick long enough. And the Guardians are a pretty bad team. So a lot of his passive kit is wasted because a lot of it has to do with buffing the Guardians. So he's just okay nowadays. I mean, he's better than the average character, don't get me wrong, and he still has his uses. But yeah, he's fallen way off from where he used to be. I miss him. Mordo is just okay. In fact, technically speaking, outside of Supernatural, he kind of borders on suck. He's just not that useful for PvE content. I did actually use him in a few nodes in DD2, mostly to soak openers, and blind openers, but yeah, he's just not all that good. But on Supernatural, he's one of the trifecta that holds the team together with his passive. But yeah, he's just okay. Doc Strange is the same as Mordo. Just okay. He has a little more utility PvE wise than Mordo does, so I'll give him a solid okay, because Windswood Tomb is really good. Even his basic is really good for pinging things like Miles, Vision, and Spider-Man, because it doesn't miss. And of course his res is what makes it valuable. Plus he is basically probably the second most important character on the Supernatural team, so Doctor Strange is a solid okay character. Ultron, great. Nothing more than he said. He's the best character in the game. He's still probably top 10. Ant-Man sucks. Pimtech may revitalize this guy somewhat when they get leveled, but without that, even with his rework, he sucks. I used him for a long time because he's what I had, but yeah, he's no good. CORVUS is great on his team and just good as a standalone character. I'm going to go ahead and give him an overall rating of good. I do use him a little bit in some raids that require, you know, like cosmic or whatever, but he's just okay. He's a good fill-in character, but nothing too extraordinary. But he's just solid good player or character. Vision has really slid. He used to be great, and now he's just barely okay. I actually don't use him for anything anymore. I'll put him on a hodgepodge team somewhere. He's actually pretty good on power armor as a fill-in just because of his passive, and it actually makes him pretty good on any tech team, really. And his kit's really good. It's just that, you know, the game's kind of leaving him behind. You know, some stuff can resist dive bomb. His damage is negligible at best. He doesn't dodge when you're controlling him. Solar beam doesn't always clear, or doesn't clear enough. It's just like he's really a good jack of all trades, but he's a master of none. So that makes him a solid okay, but nothing spectacular anymore. Cole is another one character. Some of these characters are so team-based. Like, on his team, he's amazingly great, almost god tier, right? As a standalone tank, he's only good, but I'm going to go ahead and throw a grade at him, with the caveat being he's great at high gear and red stars. Outside of that, he's just good. So, great/good is the closest I can get to this guy. But great on his team. Rocket is just okay anymore. His damage is nowhere near the best in the game like it used to be, and there's better options for the BKT, you know, method of dumping energy into characters for massive, you know, attacks. Black Bolt. So just to name one, but he's just okay. He's good on tech teams because of his passive, and you know, good on the Guardians. He's just a decent character, but his damage has been eclipsed by many other people, and the game's once again left this guy behind. So just okay. Invisible Woman is a good character. She might have one time been considered great, but she just doesn't have a lot of use anymore unless you have her really geared up. I can't afford to gear her up right now. There's a lot of other things I got to work on. But she's a good, solid plug-and-play character. She's great on her team, but Fantastic Four is only good for one thing in this game. 2 if you count Blitz, but who cares about Blitz? So she's just good. But being a strong plug-and-play character is not a bad thing, and being a good character is not a bad thing either. It's just that she doesn't do anything exceptionally well until you really, really gear high, and even then, it's a little bit iffy. I think there's other characters that do what she does a little bit better, but good character, good solid character, and definitely should be one of your first legendary unlocks, by the way. Thor, oh man. Thor is one of those characters that's going to get bonuses for a couple different things. First and foremost, he unlocks Black Bolt, and then through that, Ebony Maw. So that makes him incredibly important, and that will up his ranking a little bit. And his passive is absolutely amazing on 2 different teams. He is one of the most important characters on 2 different teams. So I have to give him a good ranking, but really, he's just barely an okay character. He might even be sucky. He might be a suck character, to be honest with you, without those 2 teams. So if you are watching the movies like Thor, don't have a team to build around him, don't waste your time. Not that good. Proxima is another good character. She's actually seeing some experimentation in other game modes outside of the Black Order, so that's a testament to how strong she is. I have not yet unlocked her node. I'm still working on that. Definitely gotta get some more stars into her, but she's probably... It's tied between her and Corvus, who's the least most valuable of the Black Order. He has a better passive than she does for the team, but she has probably better abilities. So it's a toss-up there. I'm going to go ahead and throw a good rating on her because she has seen some play outside of her team. Hela, great character. Not only does she help unlock Black Bolt, she's a really good standalone character of her own right. The computer loves killing Gregs, and she'll just keep resummoning them, so it's like doing double duty. Actually, triple duty if you count the turn rewind from killing Gregs. So, great character. Unlock her as soon as you can. One of the priorities for newer players, by the way, is to get to her node. Juggernaut is a good character. He is a great tank on his team and a decent plug-and-play tank anywhere. But he's, a lot of tanks aren't too useful in this game, so he definitely borders on okay. But I'm going to go ahead and give him good because he is just so indispensable on his team, and he can be used elsewhere. I used to use him on Supernatural every now and then, and you still can plug him in there with the Mystic tag. There's no Supernatural tag, but Mystic's nice. So, yeah, good tank. Pyro is just okay. On his team, he's good/great, but he has zero use outside of his team. That really pings him down. He is a glass cannon definition. He crumbles under any attack. 2 basics for a lot of characters will kill this guy, and great kit, great on his team, but as a standalone character, he is okay at best. So I'm gonna go ahead and give him an okay slash good, but mostly just okay. He's only good in Brotherhood. Magneto is a good character, and he's quickly falling towards okay status. Once again, the Brotherhood has one use really in this game, of course, outside of Arena and Blitz lower, and on both of those, of course. But his use elsewhere is extremely limited. He does come in and out of favor in high-end Arena because his kit's really good, don't get me wrong, and what he does is amazing, but the game's starting to pass him by too. A lot of teams now can deal with the turn 1 blind and all that. So, and if he's not sitting there stacked up with Pyro doing all that massive damage, and Toad and Blob and Juggernaut, basically everybody that ties in so well with the Brotherhood, he's just not that great. So I'm gonna go ahead and give him a good. He's still a pretty good legendary. He's one of the last legendaries though I think he should be going for, and hopefully he doesn't slide all the way to okay status, but we'll have to see. Nick Fury is just okay. Game's leaving him behind. At this point, no one goes Shield anymore. I would hardly recommend him and Shield for the very first team unlocks or legendary unlocks if his legendary unlock event made any sense whatsoever, but it doesn't. It still has not been fixed, and it's ridiculous, and that just completely dings him. And even after, by the time you get him, other characters are already doing what he does just about as well, if not better. You can almost sub like Merc Riot or Merc Lieutenant in to do a lot of what this guy does. Now, of course, on the Shield team, it's a different story, and he does have some use in other modes, but only like in the mid game. So unless you have a severely high ranked Nick Fury, I wouldn't bother with him too much, and he's just okay. Captain America is now, I'm still leave him as okay. He's good on his team, but you can't really use him anywhere else. You know, some global nodes, yeah, you know, you can sub him in a Shield, but no one really does that. Wave 1 Avengers is where it's at with him, and on that team he's really good, maybe one of the linchpin characters, but outside of that he's just okay at best. I always did like him. He's one of the better standalone tanks in the game, which kind of speaks to how poor most of the tanks in this game really are standalone. But yeah, just okay character. I love Captain America. He's like my second favorite comic book guy, but yeah, just okay character. Shuri, they had to make this girl really good at this for some reason. I don't know why, but she's good. She's no longer great like she used to be, but she still has her uses. One of the best plug-and-play characters in the game, especially for things like raids, because her cooldowns are so low. No one uses Wakanda for anything, so that's the only thing it's used for, is where you can plug her into. So a lot of different things you can use her for on War. She used to be on Mercs quite a bit, and she just floated around, you know. So good character. Definitely one of the top 2 legendaries I think you should be going for first, because Sinister 6 unlocks them both. So good character, no longer great. Groot is just okay, and to be honest with you, I think he verges on sucks. He's useful on Guardians, but you don't use him anywhere else. Other characters have cleanses nowadays. His kit's just so wonky. He's like a healer, but he doesn't heal worth a darn. He's a pretty good buffer, but I don't know. The best thing that he does is die. And when that's the best thing you can offer your team, sometimes that's just not enough. So I'm going to go with... Man, I think he sucks. I really think Groot sucks. I don't use him for anything, especially outside of Guardians. Crossbones kind of sucks. I love the character in the comics. Don't care about him in the movies. By the way, I haven't seen most of these movies. Or no, I've seen a lot of them, but I haven't seen all of the MCU movies and all the other superhero movies. It's not really my thing. But yeah, Crossbones is just good for his ultimate. He's good for nothing else. He did have a bit of a revamp now with the Hydra rework, but he just doesn't really have a home. And not even there all the time. So it's like his detonate, his ultimate ability used to be like one of the best attacks in the entire game, but it's just nothing anymore. It doesn't do much damage, and he's not a good tank, so there's not really much reason to run Crossbones for anything. I ran him for like a year on my tech team, by the way, in Arena and things, so it is what it is, and I think he just kind of sucks. Wasp sucks, always has. Even with reworks, she sucks. Her not needing charge for her special is great, but it just doesn't justify running her in a team. I guess if Pintech, winds up being amazing, that's one thing, but she stinks. Scarlet Witch sucks. She's definitely the least useful. I don't even use her on Supernatural. I just plug Loki in there, or somebody else, you know, or Jugs, depending on what I'm doing. She's no good. Her kit's interesting and good, but she does no damage. It's one of those kits that looks good, but it's not that good in practice. Her passive stinks. It should be like way better. She needs a rework desperately, but I think she sucks. You know, what more needs to be said? I'm working on symbiotes right now, so excuse the low numbers here. But yeah, Symbiote Spider-Man's amazing, great character. No denying his power. He's probably top 5 in the game, maybe top 3. Cyclops is just, I'm gonna say he's okay. On his team, he's good / great, but he's not useful anywhere outside of his team. So it's not. I'm not gonna really like raise his stake that much. So yeah, I think he's only okay. I don't think he's quite as great as people thought he was going to be when he was released. He does one thing well. It's his. Well, of course he has a really good passive, but I mean his ultimate's amazing if you can get him there, which you usually can on a Colossus team. But his other 2 abilities are nothing special at all, and the stats aren't too great. Whatever. I'd say he's just okay. Drax has moved down into basically suck region. He is still, I think, one of the better early game tanks just because of what he does, what he brings to the table. Auto taunts very strong, and then his next turn, he taunts again. So he's basically got 2 turns of taunt to start with. But it's easy to strip the taunt off him. He's accessible to all kinds of control. And if you do strip the taunt off him, it takes him forever to get another turn. So the Guardians aren't good anymore. And Drax is probably one of the worst characters on that team. I'd say he just sucks now. Shocker is barely okay, even. I'd say he probably sucks. This is probably my favorite character on the Sinister Six, outside of Green Goblin, maybe. But he's just too fragile. He's a complete glass cannon. His first turn, he doesn't do anything except a buff, so a lot of times he doesn't need a chance to throw his ultimate out. He brings a lot of great buffs, though, to the team. Or himself with the team, fully intact. But I'm just like, and he's the first thing that Doc summons, but he's just not good. You don't use him anywhere else. Not even on tech team. He's just too squishy. So I'd say you have to say he sucks. Toad is good, really good on his team, but he gets absolutely no play anywhere else. And I'm not even sure if he's as valuable as Pyro. He does add a lot of stuff, man. A lot of stuff. It's so difficult to rate this guy because he does no damage, right? But I love his acid spray move because by that point, all the bleeds are rolling. You know, the debuffs are rolling, and then he just extends everything. I'll go with okay. It's close to being sucked, though, because I would definitely use Pyro, like, outside of the Brotherhood over Toad. It's a close okay / suck, but he's not that great. But he's really good on his team. Blob is a good character all around, especially he's useful on 2 teams, a lot like Thor. And technically, you can use him to unlock Legendary, too, so I have to rate him up there with Thor, so I'm going to give this guy a good rating. His kit is really good, really interesting, and really needed for at least one team, but he's just about as good on the Brotherhood as he is on, on Marauders as he is on the Brotherhood, so that speaks highly of him. So I like the way he's designed, really do. His kit is, it's just, I don't know, it's just so interesting and good. So he's definitely a solid, good character, and can see play way outside of even the mutant teams too, so good character. Human Torch sucks. He's just too squishy. He's a lot like Shocker. He's got Shocker syndrome. If you can ever get to his ultimate, it does pretty good damage, but most people, or a lot of people on Fantastic Four teams, will actually swap him out for somebody else, so he's usually one of the first to go, either him or Thing. I prefer Thing over Human Torch, because Thing can take some hits, but Human Torch is just not good. He's not good anywhere else but Fantastic Four, and they're only good in one game mode, so I'm going to say he sucks. Wolverine sucks, despite all the extra stuff he got and the tie-ins with Cyclops and the other X-Men. He still sucks. Don't waste your time on him. Sabretooth is the most dispensable of the Marauders, but they are like a tier 1 team. I'll give him okay. He's a pretty good damage dealer on that team, but definitely the most dispensable of that squad, and he doesn't see real play anywhere else. You can't switch him over to Brotherhood, so once again, he can play on 2 teams, so I'll just give him the okay tag. But on either team, he's not really anything important, just some extra chip damage. So, yep, he's just okay. PSYLOKKE is good for basically her ultimate and her passive. I guess you could say there was a little bit of room for her her special, but it doesn't always clear effects, even when, you know, opened up. It's, I don't know, not that great. She's not that great a character. She hovers on suck. I'm gonna say she sucks, because really she doesn't do anything except for passive on the X-Men, and that part's valuable. A lot of times she gets passed over for somebody else too, so she's just not that good a character. VULTURE sucks. People have tried experimenting with him because he gains massive speed boost with kills. It doesn't matter who's, you know, as long as someone on his team is killing. But, ugh, it's just not good. His damage is so pathetic, man. Even with debuffs on the enemy, which he's supposed to like really prey upon, he does no damage. Like, even at these levels, he's doing like 2k on a basic. Like, that's nothing. So VULTURE sucks. It doesn't unlock a legendary though, just like Shocker. 2 legendaries actually. Green Goblin sucks. I love the character. At least his passive. All of his other kit is very forgettable. His passive is amazing. I wish he always stripped buffs, regardless of focus and resistance, but it is what it is. So he doesn't really have a home. He's not used on anything with the OG Sinister Six, and with Doc Ock, you never use him. But I will say this, he's the most versatile of the Sinister Six outside of Doc Ock, in that you can plug him on any Spider-Verse team and his passive works. So that part's great, but as a character himself, he sucks, and a lot of times he's in the bottom 10 list of named characters. Venom is just good on his team. Outside of it, he's just okay. I'm gonna leave it with good because symbiotes are top tier right now, and some people say he's the least valuable. That might be actually Scream. I'm not sure yet. I haven't worked with them at high enough levels. But good character on a great team, has a great passive, and a really good kit. Doesn't do anything exceptionally well, but what he does very confidently, so a good character. Iron Man sucks. A lot of times he is left off his own power armor team. That tells you something. A lot of times people think he worked better on a Wave 1 Avengers team. It's hard to argue with that. He's used for his passive in War. That's it. Just to give death proof to War Machine. There's no other reason to use this guy. Because a lot of times you only get to his Unibeam move, which does decent single target damage, but nothing extraordinary nowadays, so he needs to rework real bad. Colossus is great. Most annoying tank in the game, probably, to get through. Basically, you can't get through this guy. It takes ages to get through him once his taunt's going. And meanwhile, Phoenix is eating you alive, so great character. Thing is just okay, bordering on suck. He has seen a little bit of play outside of his team on a brawler team. On his team, he's good because he kind of becomes a pseudo tank if things work out right with Invisible Woman stealthing everybody. But really, his damage is all single target. It's nothing too incredible. He's pretty durable, but I'm gonna say he sucks. He doesn't really have too much use anywhere else. Like a lot of Blitz characters, you'll see that same thing going on. Mystique is a good to great character. On her team, she's great. Amazing. She's a quiet sleeper kind of character. Between stealing enemy buffs, with a miniature mind control at the beginning, pretty decent passive, a good basic. There's a lot to like about Mystique. So she's a good character, and you can use her on 2 teams, and she helps unlock Magneto too. I didn't mention that with like a lot of Brotherhood or X-Men characters, but they can both unlock Magneto. Sif is going to be good just for the simple fact that she helps unlock Black Bolt and completes the Asgardians team. So for that, she's good, but as a character herself, she's either okay to suck outside of that team. So nothing special about her whatsoever, but what she opens up is incredibly important, so I have to go ahead and give her a good rating. And I think she's your first character she'd be farming in the War Store. Cable, he's good now. As a standalone character, though, he's still just barely okay and verging on suck, but he's great on X-Force, so let's call him good. Korath sucks, doesn't use for anything. Spider-Man sucks nowadays, he's not really used for anything, maybe on a brawler team, hero brawlers, but even then, He's just a fill-in character at best, but he sucks. Mr. Fantastic is okay on... Well, he's good on the Fantastic Four, but everywhere else, I'd say he sucks, so... He sucks. Deadpool sucks outside of X-Force, but on X-Force he's okay. Let's go ahead and give an okay rating, but as a standalone character, there's much better out there, and he doesn't do anything exceptionally well. Though his ultimate can hit hard and is pretty useful. GAMORA sucks, her damage is negligible anymore, and no one runs her in the Guardians, and no one runs the Guardians, so she sucks. Daredevil sucks, the Defenders suck, he has no real use outside of that. Hero Brawler teams, you can intersperse that with lots of different characters. He's not that special at all, don't worry about him. Ronan sucks, you know, Kree, all the Kree are only... Well, this guy is actually useful because he helps unlock Phoenix, but most of the other Kree are completely useless in this game, and he is no exception. Coulson is... Honestly, he kind of sucks. Outside of war defense, he kind of sucks. I'll give him an okay because he used to be meta in the war defense kind of scheme. He was basically the first war defense character, but yeah, he's not good. You don't use him anywhere else. Even like outside of war, a lot of times you'll drop Coulson for like another shield character, so he's not very good. War Machine is just okay. He's good to great on his team. In fact, he's the sole reason for the team being where it is, even in war offense, but outside of that, he's not used anywhere, so I'm going to say he sucks. Well, actually, let me take it back. He's okay. Slashing, bordering on suck. Good on his team, he sucks everywhere else. Falcon is a good character. He's seen lots of use and experimentation throughout the years since his release, mostly on the strength of his special, which is pretty amazing. Everything else is very standard cookie cutter, nothing too special about it, and but it's a special makes or breaks him, and it's a really good special, so he is good. Captain Marvel is okay to good. She's a good plug and play character, especially in war. Nothing too fancy outside of that, so if I had to label her, I'd label her as okay. She just doesn't really have a home anywhere. Maybe with the new military tag stuff, we'll see, but nah. Heimdall sucks. He's the worst player or character on his team, and he has zero use outside of it. Good for countering Brotherhood, though. Makes you think twice about attacking them. Other than that, he sucks. Red Skull is a good character. He is great on war defense, even though he has some counters nowadays. But he's starting to shine in like real-time PvP kind of scenarios, real-time arena and all that. So he has some uses now. He just gets a lot of his power in war. But he's a good character, but not the kind of character you want to level tons, like run through content like raids and the different dark dimensions. So buyer beware. He has his uses outside of war, but it's kind of limited to like PvP and things like that. Mantis sucks. Used to be a pretty decent raid healer, but she's been eclipsed in every way by characters like Minerva, so she's not worth investing in outside of unlocking Star-Lord. Elektra sucks, no damage, useless, unless hand get reworked. Black Widow is barely okay. I'd say she borders on sucks outside of the Wave 1 Avengers. And on that team, she's only decent, I'd say. I don't know if the passive with her and Hawkeye really makes it worthwhile to run her all the time. There might be better options, but we'll see if she gets any more kit reworking, but we'll see. I'd say she sucks. I don't use her for anything. Winter Soldier kind of sucks. You don't use him. I don't use him for anything whatsoever in the game right now, hence his level. You got to rework, okay, and hide your team or whatever, but with Zemo, I never see that team, so I'm going to still say he sucks. Hulk is okay. Pretty decent tank on his team, Wave 1 Avengers, and not a bad plug-and-play tank elsewhere. But nothing too exceptional. After his rework, he gets up to okay status. Pretty good war tank, though, actually. Does quite a bit of damage. Spider-Man Miles, I guess Young Avengers and Brawlers could be a thing. I never see it. I'd say outside of that, he sucks, though. I'd never see Miles. He's only dangerous in raids as the computer because it's overtuned him. Hawkeye kind of sucks. He's decent on the Wave 1 Avengers, but he's not used anywhere else. Killmonger is okay to good. If you run him on Merc's team, he's a good character. Outside of that, though, he doesn't really see much play anywhere else. You know, Wakandans, but no one runs Wakandans, right? So I'll go with good, or excuse me, I'll go with okay. He's nothing too special right now, but he's pretty good on one team, War at least, War D. M'Baku sucks, one of the worst tanks in the game, one of the worst characters in the game. Koei, one of the worst characters in the game, period. She sucks. Don't even look at her twice, other than the monthly event. Black Panther sucks, same thing as the previous two. All the Wakandans kind of suck. Outside of Shuri. X-23 is a good to great character. As a standalone character, she's good and really strong, and on her team, she is either the most valuable or the second most valuable probably member of that team on X-Force. So I'm going to call her good because X-Force doesn't get a lot of use outside of war and maybe some PvP, but she's a pretty useful character, so a high good character. Negasonic is basically the same thing as X-23 with a little less use, I think, outside of her team. So she's going to get a good rating as well, but more middle of the road kind of good, you know. Nothing too exceptional, but on her team, she's really strong. Storm sucks. No one uses her for much anymore. Sometimes she'll get swapped in on X-Men teams, but I haven't used her for anything ever, so she sucks. Domino's probably the least important member on the X-Force. That's debatable with Deadpool. X-Force is really strong, so I'll go ahead and give her an okay rating, but she's not useful for anything else outside of that, really. Nebula sucks. Maybe the worst named character in the game. Enough said. Yondu sucks. He's used for nothing nowadays. Used to be meta, but the game left him behind like 2.5 years ago, so don't bother with him at all. Only thing he is possibly good for is helping to unlock Star-Lord, and I pulled 5 red stars on him. I did not pay for those 5 reds, just so you know. And I still don't use him. That shows you where he's at. Electro is great on her team, but she's not useful anywhere else, so I'll barely give her an okay, because she's only good in one game mode, really. Zemo is a great character. He's useful everywhere. Basically every game mode he's seeing some kind of play right now. And he's just an exceptionally strong character. Can't wait to start leveling him. I'm just going to lock them, but gotta work on symbiotes first. But actually I have him fairly mid-range on my other account, and he's a killing machine, especially versus the computer, so great character. Beast is just okay. I don't often even see him on X-Men teams. That's probably because he's not farmable yet, so we'll see once he's finally unlocked like to his full potential, but just for now he's okay and doesn't really have much play outside of this team at all, if any. Ghost. Ghost is a great character. I haven't got to play with her yet, but from everything I've seen and read, she is pretty amazing, so she's great. Doc Ock is a great character, legendary character, and he's amazing on his team, on war offense especially, and he is a very good plug-and-play character outside of his team, which is a rarity. Not so much with legendaries, but it is what it is with other characters, so great character. Can't wait to unlock him next go-round, which I will. Doctor Doom, who knows? I'm sure he'll be Ultron status when he comes out. We'll have to see. And I'm going to assume he's great. Iceman looks to be good. Maybe not too useful outside of his team, but looks like he's going to be very good on it. Once again, don't know, haven't played with him. Same with Kitty Pryde, who knows? Could be just another filler. X-Men, who knows? We don't have Jubilee yet, so we don't know. And that is it. So those are the characters that were in the movies and my quick opinions and thoughts of them. So the overall idea of this video is to get people to not just blindly put resources into the character because they know them from the films, right? Research the character a little bit, see if they're good, and then make an informed choice. So this video got really long, so hopefully you stuck through to the end. But anyway, until next time, this is Genome, out.